Welcome back, Seoul Dynasty, keeping themselves alive with a win on Temple of Anubis.
And here's something interesting, Doa. In this match so far, Seoul has had 180 elims, and Boston has had 108, and yet Boston is up. Well, and that last map, I mean, that's what it looked like. And overall, the first two maps of this series, Seoul had more eliminations than Boston, but Boston was winning. And in total, 44 deaths for the Boston Uprising that last map, and 27 for the Seoul Dynasty. And yet it was really close. And the answer is, Boston is playing some really weird but really smart strats right now, and it's throwing the Dynasty off.
Well, I mean, it also kind of shows, again, you know, Seoul struggles at finishing off, you know, big ultimate combos if they're getting a few kills here and there, but still losing the fights. Here we go, Boston Uprising. On the attack, it's going to be the Bastion defense again from Seoul Dynasty. Jae-Hong's been known to play this Bastion in the past, so not super surprising, actually.
Yeah, they are going to try and force something different out of Boston, and Blase wants to run with the Hammond here, and this is a pretty common counter strat with the Sombra and the Hammond.
It's quiet.
Something different.
Too quiet. Oh, as Color Hex sneaks around the back with that Sombra. Michelle going to chase him down, and Fusions gets booped off by Fleta. Whoops.
Yeah, trying to get
spotted.
They tried to distract.
And Note, again, they're going to do a bit of resetting. I'm going to give Note the reset on that one, even though Fleta hit him again. I could have flown back, but Fleta not getting anybody close to his Bastion.
Yeah, they've got the Hammond behind still. Hammond by Big Earls at the moment. They're trying to set up Color Hex on the Sombra.
Yep.
It's a good opportunity for them to dive. Michelle is playing back.
Well, Color Hex in a little bit of trouble. Has to translocate again. He's slowly building that EMP, but not too fast. Fusions did get hacked a little bit there, though, by Munchkin on the opposing Sombra. Blase over on the Hammond now. They're getting aggressive, yeah. Just deciding to dive onto that Bastion. That's what they're going to do. Jae-Hong out now, and there goes Fleta. Not really a big chance for a res here from Jexa, it doesn't look like. A shell down as well, yeah. Everyone just dying on the cart. Ooh, Jae-Hong. He's going to go ahead and use that ultimate, but I think he's going to swap. Yeah, just popping the ultimate. So I was like, what? He's not
you heard it
back there, yeah.
You heard it, but he was in spot, so it wasn't very exciting.
So they're going to swap, even though Jexa had that Mercy ultimate. I mean, when that comp gets broken, you can't really make the pieces do anything individually, so you got to make the switch.
Yeah, and the question is, was it worth like the minute and a half or so you took off the clock? Potentially, especially if you still have the EMP. So Seoul here, their idea is they need to get this EMP off first. They're going to know Color Hex as his, and if they can get an ult economy off this, might be good.
Oh, EMP from Color Hex. Checks it down immediately. That was a great EMP, man. Hit everybody on Seoul Dynasty. And slowly but surely, Boston grinding through this fight now. Jae-Hong just hopping on the payload. That does not work too well. Seoul Dynasty again. You know, the call is die on the payload. You just try to buy as much time as you can. You know, the aggressive point A defense, it does give you the opportunity. Oh, that's a cheeky little stall by Munchkin there. Buying another second or two, but you know, you do get that extra fight at the end of point A if you play the aggressive point A defense on Route 66, but not working out for Seoul, that's for sure.
No, and especially not when they lose the EMP battle and get EMP'd first. Now Boston Uprising just switching back to 3-3 composition. And Seoul here, they're going with what we saw earlier, which is we assume Michelle is going to switch over to the Zarya immediately. Problem with saying on this, Doa, is that they don't have much damage.
You don't.
How do you eliminate somebody on Boston even if you EMP them?
I mean, you have to just get an immediate and effective follow-up after an EMP. You need to have no hesitation.
I mean, against a sound barrier, like
I don't know. You EMP the Lucio, man. What do you want? I don't know.
He's not.
Perfect EMPs are required.
Kellex is hiding right now. They're waiting for this.
He knows. Self-destruct thrown in by Note. There's the EMP. Kellex sound barriers immediately. And Michelle tosses into self-destruct. Fusions does get finished off by Jexa eventually. And so Seoul Dynasty does stall the payload. So despite the sound barrier, Seoul was ready.
Well, Blase and Fusions didn't get the sound barrier. So that was actually a little bit of a mistiming by Kellex and communication with the team, which gave Seoul that opening. Had those two been hit by the sound barrier, I think that fight would have gone much differently.
Certainly possible. Still no Zarya for Seoul Dynasty. A bit bizarre that they're running Munchkin on the Sombra, Michelle still on that Diva, not on the Brigida. So, Seoul Dynasty taking the high ground here. They're going to be able to drop on the payload, try to defend again.
This is not a good composition from Seoul. They need to switch off, but because they won that last fight, they didn't really have time to go change out the Diva.
I mean, as long as they're buying time, I suppose that's that. There's a Transcendence for Jehong. From behind comes a Semmler. That's a big shatter coming in from Fissure here. ColorX knocked down, but he gets saved by God's ultimate. Fissure, though, not so lucky as he's taken out by the Boston Uprising. That's going to be the end of that fight. Seoul Dynasty, now they have a chance to switch here. Will they do it?
Yes, they will do it, Doa. I have to assume they will. This would be too weird of a composition to continue running on this point. There's Munchkin trying to find... Ooh, he's going to go down there. Michelle finally switching over to the Zarya. So this was Seoul's plan coming into this match. However, that's a really good stagger, and I'm not sure they're even going to get a chance to defend here, especially with Kellix threatening to move them if they come through the doorway.
No, that's just going to be point A. Taken cleanly by Boston. 3 minutes on the clock to now push through C. Seoul Dynasty scrambling to find any sort of way to get a good solid stop onto Boston, because so far it's only been like little bits here and there. They haven't really gotten a strong hold all map.
I think Seoul needed to switch off this D.Va earlier. This is all of a sudden becoming a very large problem.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice hack.
Oh yeah, that definitely does work. Munchkin waiting, he's got the EMP as well. Has to translocate out, barely escapes with life, but he gets to the health pack.
They bought time though, because No couldn't re-back while hacked.
Right. Yeah, after that self-destruct, No struggling a little bit. And Michelle just getting aggressive now, full charge on that Zarya. This is where you can be aggressive if you're the Dynasty, but you do have to worry about that grab. You know Boston has those ultimates online. You don't want to get caught. Another hack comes in on Diffusions this time. So the Reinhardt vulnerable, that's going to let Seoul continue to stall the payload. Rally now for Blase. Rally on the other side for Seoul. Both teams staring each other in the eye. And there goes Kellix. Fissure gets him with a lucky fire strike. Or should I say skillful? That's going to be Seoul Dynasty just rolling over Boston now. Boston Uprising just saving the ults for the next push.
I mean, the mind games were so real there, Doa. Kellix and AimGod, both of their ultimates up. Same with Munchkin on the EMP. Both teams have learned, though, from playing this series that it's a game of cat and mouse. And
sure is, yeah.
Boston's been really good at hiding their supports.
They've taken turns each being the cat and the mouse, that's for sure. Munchkin. He is the cat now. Oh, there's a grab from Boston to try to take out Seoul, but there's a big charge coming through. AimGod finishes off Fissure. There's the EMP onto Boston. Oh, but AimGod, he predicted it. He got the Transcendence out just in time. Boston Uprising kept alive. AimGod has been an all-star all series long.
This is such a cool game plan from Boston Uprising, Doa. They knew exactly what everybody else knew coming in, but they've adapted incredibly well to the threat of the Sombra. They've learned from their previous matches, and they are implementing it tonight.
It's just not the same Sombra for Seoul, though. They're trying different things tonight. They just don't seem to be working. Oh, and that's going to be a shadow that never lands for Fissure. And now, sound barrier for Boston as they try to push this one home. Fissure down again. There goes Jexy. And it looks like Seoul Dynasty just going to give this one up right here. Nobody there to stop the payload at Boston with a pretty great push here on Route 66.
Yeah, the eliminations too finally going heavily in Boston's favor, which I think really shows, because this was a quite convincing push, finishing with that 43 seconds.
Yeah. Well, let's send it over to Danny for some quick insight on this match.
Thanks, Doa and Monty. So I got to talk to Seoul Dynasty during halftime, and they told me that going into the match, they thought Boston was going to play aggressively, but as it turns out, they had a more of a defensive gameplay, and that's what threw them off and ultimately cost them 2 maps before the halftime. And they're now down 1-2. Let's see if Seoul Dynasty can actually, you know, tie things up. Back to you guys, casters.
Thanks, Danny. We all wonder that. Will Seoul Dynasty be able to tie it up? It's going to be tough.
I do wonder what they mean by defensively, though. I assume they mean that they're hiding these supports and playing around the EMP.
Maybe.
Because they are waiting quite a while for the EMP to be activated.
My question still was Seoul Dynasty. What was it about the way that they were playing their Sombra compositions before that they felt was just working so poorly that they changed Michelle off the Sombra completely, that now Munchkin is the one playing it?
I really just think it's a factor of when they're swapping some of their heroes around. They're trying to change some of their swap timings. And I mean, also, we talked about this. Michelle has great stats in some categories, but pretty bad ones in others. And if they're so concerned that his synergy isn't there, like, again, you can hit everybody with a hack, but if nobody dies, then it's a bad hack.
Here we go, Seoul Dynasty on the attack here. Munchkin on the Widowmaker, trying to find some early shots perhaps on this aggressive defense from Boston. See how long he sticks on it. And nope, there's a swap over to the Brigida. Just looking for those early picks, possibly. Yep. Soul not going to find him, though. And Boston Uprising is going to hang out in the train car for a little while. Diva, please.
No cursing in front of the children.
That's right. Here we go. Fusions, boot back into Seoul Dynasty. Manages to get behind his team a little bit. A few members going down. Fissure, the one, paying the price on Soul. Soul gets a couple kills, though, so they can keep pushing this off of the power that Fleta has on this Zarya. So despite losing the Reinhardt, they are going to eventually win the fight. Boston Uprising going to have to pull back and think about what they want to do at the end of point A.
Yeah, Jexay's been playing really aggressively on the last couple of maps, and he's trying to deal with Aim God right now, and he's successful. He's actually bouncing his way back there on Lucio. The difference in positioning is Kelix is often up on the walls looking to displace tanks, and Jexay is weaving his way into the back line to kill the Zenyatta.
Yeah. You gotta do that if you're the Lucio right now. I think you need to find the Zen, you gotta try to find the Rein, push him into your own team. On board with Jexay now, there's gonna be the grab. Color Hex using it, self-destruct gets two. Note finds a couple. They were able to get it right in the middle where the shield couldn't cover everybody. And that's gonna be Seoul Dynasty sent back to spawn.
That was a great self-destruct placement right behind the sign on Big Earls there. He kind of jammed it in between the grab. Precise placement of the exploding Diva mech.
Well, he got it right to where even if Fissure spun around, he couldn't cover everybody with his shield. So at the end of the day, you just got to decide who lives and who dies on your team. And we found out who Fissure likes the least, I think, right there.
Well,
That's
this is what happens when Fissure plays God.
That's right. He decides who lives and who dies to that. That's self-destruct. Now we know. Seoul Dynasty continuing to push here. Didn't have to wait long. It's going to be the rally now from Munchkin. Boston responding. And there's going to be, Kelix trying to get in the back. Trying to find that boop onto Fissure. Couldn't quite find it there. Jexay responding. Oh, but there's a nice shadow coming from Fusion's immediate sound barrier, though, from Jexay, trying to keep his team alive. Fissure, not so lucky, though. Good attack, actually, from Boston on that Reinhardt. There's going to be the grab now. Can they win this one? Maybe with that self-destruct, the boop. Not getting any kills. It looked like it might have set some up, but instead, Soul back to spawn, and that's going to be rough, man. Oh, and Jaehong using the Transcendence at the end. Awful fight for Seoul Dynasty. They lost a lot in that one.
Yeah, it looked like the setup might be okay for Jexay, but the self-destruct wasn't in the right place in order to finish off the elimination.
You know, you're grasping at straws, too, with Fissure down already.
Yeah, and look at this, too. Boston is just in an excellent position right now with only a minute remaining. Soul threw both of their support ultimates at it. Maybe they could get a rally in the next 60 seconds, but it's going to be rough.
It's looking like a full hold for Boston to me, man. I mean, Boston, this is their game to lose right now. They've got the tools. They've got the strategy. They seem to have Soul downloaded here. But there goes Blase, as I see it. Right as I say it. Maybe cast a curse, but the Graviton Surge, enough to get a couple, and there's no with two more. Jexay and Fissure out of the fight. Just 30 seconds now for Soul.
I mean, they're going to be happy, though, that they got that, because at least you got the self-destruct, the grab, and the sound barrier round. Soul's got another shot here to get to the payload.
It's something, at least. Seoul Dynasty with one last chance to just keep the map alive. If you lose this much time on point A, how in the world do you finish C? Even if they do complete this, it's going to be so rough for Soul. They got to win a fight right here, though.
They've almost got that grab onto Fleta.
Yep. Waiting it out. 6 seconds. We're going to be in overtime. That's for sure. Boston Uprising being patient here. We're into OT. Fleta really wanting to find that grab. There's a rallies coming in. Oh, Fissure knocked down by Fusion's Earthshatter. Again, winning that Rein duel, but here comes a grab. Can they get any kills out of it? That's a nice counter shatter from Fissure. Michelle with the self-destruct doesn't find any, but they do get Blase anyway. During the fight, there goes Fusion. So Seoul Dynasty, once again, barely able to take this fight at the very last moment. That was as close as it gets, but Soul gives himself a bit more time here on Route 66.
And they did it because they had the second to last fight. They executed it so quickly, and they got 3 ults out, and that meant that Boston was in it at a disadvantage on the next one. That was a really good decision by Soul just to all in immediately, knowing that there was time for a second engagement.
Yeah, very true. Here we go, Seoul Dynasty. Now they've got the sound barrier, but not much else. Meanwhile, Boston in a good position to delay again. 2 minutes now for Soul. Back in the time bank. Trying to tie up this series. There's a grab. Here's a combo. And the shield turned just in time, but Blase gets the kill to Jexay anyway. There goes Fleta. Seoul Dynasty back to spawn.
Heading back one more time. And it'll be very difficult for them to push through in the next 1 minute and 45 seconds. If Seoul's going to do it, it probably is going to have to take overtime.
I mean, Seoul's going to have an extra support ultimate because Aim God's going to be a little while before he gets his trance online. J-Home already has his.
Trying to push to this choke just takes time. You have to push, you have to rotate around the side. Kelix is there trying to move your tanks forward. Kelix's positioning has been fantastic in this series.
Oh man, really nearly bounced out Fissure there. He's gonna get it now. No, he does, but they do have the Transcendence to keep people alive. Sound barrier for Kelix, sliding around the corner, getting it on as many people as he can. Pushing Seoul off to the side now. It's making Fissure play very cautiously here. And now they're going to get aggressive with Aim God's Transcendence. Fissure responds with the counter shatter, and there goes Blase. Here comes the self-destruct. No kills out of that, but again, it's all about pushing Boston back, creating the space for Seoul Dynasty to win that fight.
And they got no movement out of the cart, and that fight took basically a minute.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's going to be another defense here. There was a lot used by the Seoul Dynasty. That was a great fight if you're a Boston Uprising fan.
Indeed.
It's the weird thing about Overwatch. Sometimes you just want to lose gracefully to give yourself a better chance in the future.
You're playing the long game, man. You know, that's how it is. Sometimes you just have to set yourself up for a victory later. Boston's going to try to do that right now. They've got the rally. This is where they want to try to end this series, but they're going to get grabbed right away. Seoul Dynasty can't get any kills off of it, though, yet again. Oh, and there's the grab eaten. Michelle finds color axes. Self-destruct. Finds Fissure anyway. Are you kidding me? Could not stay alive to that self-destruct, but Munchkin gets one on diffusions. So Seoul Dynasty still with a chance here, but they are down to overtime yet again. Munchkin low, note, hunting him down, trying to get that kill. Blase down, couldn't quite finish him. That is agonizing for Note and Seoul Dynasty. I think they might just win this fight here. Aim God uses the Transcendence, but that's going to be an ultimate that he may want back as Seoul winning this fight, and it looks like they're going to take point B. They are still alive.
Clutching it out, Doa. Eating that graviton, potentially match-changing here for the Seoul Dynasty. They get another minute and a half on the clock to try and make it to the end, but even then, we're going to have to go into time bank. So Boston still with a great advantage, but Seoul refusing to give up in this match.
Point C is so hard to complete with a little bit of time in the time bank. So Seoul Dynasty still has their work cut out for them right now. They're going in there. There's a grab, though. Seoul trying to finish right now. Color X finishing himself off after taking a lot of damage. Seoul Dynasty looking good so far. Clean fight win. Boston Uprising, though, they're going to get a lot of people respawn by the end here, so they're going to have another defense or two.
I mean, that's the right play if you're Seoul, though.
Yep.
You saw the sound barrier and the trance come out last fight. They don't have them. You need to make as much time as possible. You must rush onto them now.
Yep.
And they do it.
As soon as that defense matrix is down, you have a little window to toss that grab in there. That's exactly what Fleta did. Color Hacks with his own Zarya ultimate, ready to go. Seoul Dynasty with all their defensive ultimates set. There's the grab. Gonna try to go with the self-destruct again. Can they get the right out of the way? They can. They get Jexay. They don't get the sound barrier off. Jexay dies. Actually did use it just in time, but it doesn't matter. Boston Uprising winning this fight regardless. Sound barrier not doing it for Seoul Dynasty. Now we're under 10 seconds, and I don't think Seoul can even get back to the point.
Oh, they got J-Hong right now at the end of it.
Jexay able to, oh, he gets stunned, booped away. Can he get there? Yes, he gets there just in time to get overtime. But how in the world do you win this as Seoul Dynasty? I don't think you do. Fissure walking forward here. They got Aim God, but they're gonna need a lot more. OT taken away. Fissure comes in for the charge, but it's still gonna be Boston finding the kills that they need. Seoul Dynasty on their last legs, and in the end, it is going to be a 3-1 victory in this series for Boston Uprising.
I think Boston was exceptional tonight.
I agree.
am very impressed with their game plan coming in. They looked like they had Seoul figured out. Credit to the Boston coaching staff and players. There were a lot of really weird mind games going on, a lot of very subtle strategies that were used to confuse Seoul.
You add into that the great individual play. I think you can argue that Fusion's outplayed Fissure in the Reinhardt to Reinhardt today. I think it's no argument that Aim God outplayed Jae-Hong, and I think Note was incredible too. Yeah, Kelix. There's so many good individual performances from the Boston Uprising today. Yeah, you just kind of have to go down the line and name every member of the team, right?
Well, you know, we came in saying this is going to be potentially the Boston of this season. They finally have all their players in all the right positions.
Yeah.
think if you're a Boston fan, you're really happy with that debut.
I mean, yeah. I mean, this is Boston saying, now I have unveiled my final form, you know, completely. And Seoul Dynasty can't quite handle it. They're going to drop to 2-2 in the league overall so far. And Boston Uprising looking pretty good.
I mean, I think on an individual basis, in many ways, Seoul outplayed Boston, but Boston came in with so many weird strategies and tactics that they were just thrown for a loop.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where this team goes from here, but I think if you're a Boston fan, you're pretty excited. Let's send it down to Mica, who's got Fusions ready for an interview.
Thanks, guys. Give it up for Fusions, the tank extraordinaire, everybody. So I talked to Huck at the half, and he said that you being back has really been crucial for the team's focus and you know, kind of coming together again. So what can you say that you guys did as a team to prepare and ultimately take the victory today?
We just really focused on playing our game. We didn't really know what Seoul were going to run. We had an idea. So we really focused on making our synergy together better, since I've only been here for a little bit with the team as well. So yeah, we just really focused on practicing our comps and playing our game.
You may only have been here for a little bit, but you are really turning this team into something extraordinary. And know that everybody has been enjoying watching you play. And also, the next few matches are going to determine if you guys make it into the stage playoffs. So with that pressure, can you give us a little insight into how you're feeling?
Next match is probably going to be our most important one, I think. So I feel like people might be a bit nervous going into it, but we're just going to do our best to make sure we go in with a cool head like we did this week. We're going to prepare as best we can for them and just hopefully come out with the W and put ourselves in a really good spot to win.
Absolutely, and I'm also so happy to hear you have a voice again this time. I can tell that you're taking the shot calling a little bit easier. So thank you so much, Fusions. Give it up once again for him, everybody. And we're going to send it back over to the casters.
Thank you, Mica. And man, what an impressive showing by Boston here. I mean, that is, again, like we talked about, that is their final form. This is the team that they were looking to run at the beginning of the season. Finally see it. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So let's take a look at our player of the match here. And I think this one is a very well-deserved. It was tough. It was tough, but in the end, it's going to be Aim God that takes it. This guy was so good today, finding the picks, of course, but more importantly, finding the ability to survive against the onslaught from Seoul Dynasty.
Yeah, especially those EMPs.
Yeah.
It was really his positioning and decision-making that allowed Boston to have trance during a lot of EMPs. They were baiting out of the Seoul Dynasty, and it's a great kill at the end there. A little bit of help, of course.
Yeah, you know, with the Reinhardt pin. That does help a little bit. But again, this guy's transcending timings were extremely good. So he's going to be our Omen HP player of the match. And yeah, check out those stats, man. I mean, that's a lot of damage done. It's a lot of healing done, too. Not quite Jonak damage numbers, but hey, plenty to take on Seoul Dynasty today.
Yeah, still nice, though, to see the Zenyatta play on the up and up from the Boston Uprising.
True enough. Let's take a look at the overall standings in the league right now. So after that series, what ended up was Seoul Dynasty will still maintain 8th place, I believe. Yes, they will. Boston Uprising, though, will move up to 9th and finally equalize in the map score overall.
Yeah, looking good for Uprising. Still, obviously, a lot of shot there for the stage playoffs. Just barely on the outside looking in.
That's right. So, Florida Mayhem versus Guangzhou Charge coming up next. Another great series here on another great week of Overwatch League. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back with you after the break for another match.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.